Most search engines will give you lots of control over your search by using and, or, and not. You'll often see these called the Boolean operators, named for a mathematician, but don't worry about that. We've already looked at the use of and. For example, if we ask for Medicare and reform, the search engine will retrieve items only if they have both terms somewhere. As you've seen, some search engines like Google automatically put an and between any of your search terms. Using and narrows your search. In this example, of all the articles about students, we will only retrieve the ones that also talk about stress. In this representation, just the articles in this dark area in the middle. On the other hand, or is usually used when we want to include different terms that get at the same idea. For example, if we're researching wolf reintroduction, whether an article uses the word wolf or wolves, we'd want that article either way. Or tells the search engine to retrieve items with either term. Or expands your results. In this example, if we're looking for instructors or professors, we don't really care which term is being applied to those people. We're interested in that group. And using or, we would get all of the articles no matter which term they're using. So or broadens your search out. We could keep going if it's useful too. Instructors or professors or teachers or educators. And we keep widening our net to get articles about those people regardless of what we're calling them. Not is not always available, but it's worth knowing about and sometimes really comes in handy. For example, if I want articles about jazz, but I get a lot of irrelevant material about the Utah Jazz basketball team, I might ask for jazz not basketball. Similarly, if I'm looking for information about Jaguars the animals, but I'm getting stuff about Jaguar the automobiles, I might try using the term Jaguars not automobiles. The not command tells the search engine to gather up the articles with your first term and then throw out any that have the second term. Not narrows your results. In this representation, we've gathered all the articles about Jaguars and then discarded any that also mention automobiles. So of all the articles about Jaguars, only these in this bright yellow area that do not mention automobiles are left. Notice that this can be a problem. In this case, I would lose articles about Jaguars being killed by automobiles, which I might have wanted, so be sure to use it carefully. In Google, be aware that they use the minus sign as the not command, so spelling out the word not doesn't work. So if we wanted for it back with our jazz example, I could ask for jazz minus basketball, and the minus sign goes right attached to the word we don't want. Now the real power of and or a not comes when you put them together. So here are some examples of realistic searches that you might do. If we're interested in invasive species in the Northwest, well, we'd like the article if it talked about Oregon or Washington State. I put Washington State there as an exact phrase search to separate it from Washington, D.C. Or we'd be interested in the article if it talked about the Northwest. So any of those would be fine, as long as it also talks about either invasive species or weeds or pests. Similarly, if we're researching careers for Generation Y that are not healthcare professions, we might ask for employment or jobs or careers. I could throw in or professions. But they also, we have an and here, they also have to discuss either Generation Y or millennials, whichever we call that group of people. But I want the articles to not be talking about healthcare and whichever way it's spelled, as a single word or as two words. And finally, here's an important tip. Most databases will have an advanced search feature that makes it easy for you to do powerful searches with and, or, and not. They'll look something like this, and if your database doesn't start you off on the advanced search screen, just click into advanced search and find it. With these, you can keep different ideas on different lines. And so here we have the idea of employment, whichever term we're using for that, the idea of the generation of people we're interested in, and the idea of the healthcare term. So keep different major ideas on different lines, and then inside the lines use ors to string together different ways of saying the same idea, terms that would be useful for your search. And of course, anytime you're having trouble sorting out your search terms, be sure to ask your librarian.